Okay, we're going to start a test run here. So today is April 4th and it's 1300 hours, and we're going to attempt to answer a question that's been asked a couple of times here in the past, and it's in regarding the information and where I get my information. Well, it's kind of complicated, but what we're going to do is I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you for the most part where I collect and what I've done with that collection, and then I'm going to show you where I collect from to give you an idea of where I get some of my information. The majority of my morning is, or the first part of my morning, is going through the news, the headlines on different media, YouTube, follow up on what I read in the various magazines and newspapers from in and around the world. I collect them and I put them into Flipboard, where I've started my own magazines, and I've got them by different chapters, and one in particular is Canada in Decline. And anybody can go to YouTube, or sorry, to Flipboard and just view the content. Or if you're like me, how this initially started is I started looking for a place to store the information that I was reading, so I had a place to go back and easier time finding the information on a given subject that I had read or whatever. And I ended up starting a total of 13 magazines, a little bit more actually. These are the particular magazines and information that I'm interested in on a daily basis, and the stuff that I read and transfer into these has some significance to me, putting all the puzzle pieces together and trying to come up with a picture of what's really going on in the world. Now, these stories out of Flipboard, it's people like me and you who are just going out here and reading articles and posting them to Flipboard on their accounts for their own personal reasons, but they're taken from magazines and newspapers and news sources all over the world. Getting into some of these stories, of course, you have to double check and find the links and find the right questions to ask to find the links and come up with a true version of the story. So be aware of that. It's from all over the world, including mainstream or legacy media. And you can search by subject, you can do a bunch of things. Forgive my bad habits. So that's where I collect my information to. Now, in regards to where do I collect my information? Well, for the most part, I stay away from North American mainstream news. I don't. I have very little respect for them, and it's because of the wonderful programming they do on us, and especially what we've seen with the Canadian Convoy movement, or the Canadian Freedom Movement, associated with the convoy, and all of the stuff that our legacy media, paid, i.e. by Canadian taxpayer, funded by the government, bought out, they sure made it twisted the reality of what the situation was. Now, not that I had a lot of respect for them prior to, but that definitely diminished anything that I had left. That being said, I go to international newspapers such as the Moscow Times. I want to find out what's going on in Russia and in Europe, and see what their people are being reported as an indication of what's going on out there, what they're actually doing, or what they're trying to hide. I follow RT Times, which has been banned during this special war. I'm not supposed to be seeing this, but somehow I keep breaking through. It checks my web browser first, and I skim those headlines, or those stories, through the headlines, and continue my research and comparisons on what I've read on anything prior to or coming up. This one is Sputnik International, again a Russian newspaper. I've been reading these for quite a number of years. Anybody who's been following me either on Facebook or in some of my older points, or sorry, not Facebook, Flipboard, or some of my older Facebook and stuff, then you know that I've been checking these sites out. It's been a habit for years. So I'm showing you the alternatives. North American. You try to stay away from North American reporting as much as possible. The main one that I go to for worldwide reporting, primarily North American and questionable sources, is Drudge Report. TheDrudgeReport.com carries all of the main headlines that the government and hierarchy would like to push on us. It's just a repeat, as far as I'm concerned, of what we've come to know from legacy media. High resource page refreshes every 30 seconds by the looks of it, so be aware of that. Global Research, an interesting site. A lot of information on different things. You have globalresearch.ca and globalresearch.org, and as you can see, they have a fairly broad listing of topics that they cover, and a lot of it is good writing, not always the proper context, but definitely the interesting information in here, and it leads to an awful lot of research off of this page. No matter what they come into it, there's always links that I have to chase down or choose to chase down, and they pretty much are bang on. I give them a lot of credibility on depending on the subject. I approach all my news channels as having a monetary reason for being there, and money and politics combined, so I like to be a little cautious about what I read for my own opinions. Here's another one, Signs of the Times. This one here definitely has an agenda, but the information put out, any good information is good information that confirms something. Bad information is usually something that confirms that there's something wrong with the story. So, I look all over and chase things down. Puppet Masters, Society's Child, Science and Technology, Secret History. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. Earth Changes, Fire in the Sky. I only post very few out of these because there's so many every day, or every week anyway, that I'd just be reposting boring stuff. It's amazing the amount of fireballs that are, and meteors and comets that are making contact with us on a daily and weekly basis, and we have no idea. You'll find this stuff in my Flipboard under Signs of Things to Come. Health and Wellness, Science of the Spirit, High Strangeness, and they've got a comic section that's don't panic, lighten up. I put a few of those out there, and some of the comments that I got on them was obvious that people were not reading everything they should have been reading. Yeah, they get a little carried away. But all of that, is my mainstream news on COVID. Well, let's see. We have all kinds of things on COVID where we can get to. We have World Health Organization. We go to both the CDC, the World Health Organization. If you guys haven't been there, I highly recommend that you go. Find out what the contradictions are even between these people and what the government at the community level or at the provincial level, in our case, is the discrepancies. It's just amazing. And the WHO, which has a big hand in all of the coronavirus disease and the implementation of the restrictions and mandates, and well, I won't call it what I think it is, but go there for information. And again, compare that to what's being told out there. You'll find contradictions. And we can't forget the World Economic Forum in this particular context because of what's been going on. We can look at that from a few different avenues and go into it a little bit more if necessary, but there you go. There's another place to check out. Axis of Logic. Yeah, if you want to kind of get an inside story on what's going on in other countries of the world, take a look at some of this stuff. There's going to be some stuff here that's very questionable. Questionable because it's amazing if it's true, so you have to go and pretty much go in with discretion, but you'll find commentaries and stuff on pretty much every country here and a lot of subjects. So yeah, check that one out. And here we go. Yes, World Freedom Directory. This ties in with the laws and activism and stuff. Now remember, my big thing more than anything else I'm doing these is I'm fighting for Canada rights and freedoms, and that's my main concern with all of this stuff that's going on in the world. We're being trampled on, and I'm looking for connections that are somehow running adjacent to or in conjunction with the degradation of the Canadian way of life, and you got to look at who are these guys, the World Government Summit. Have you heard of them? Probably not. What about these guys here, World Freedom Directory, what's that all about? There's things going on that they've been playing out here for a long time that we just haven't been paying attention to. And it's high time that you do your research and come to understand what it's all about. Event 201, anybody know what that one is about? That's the simulation ran 2 months prior to the global pandemic outbreak. And this exercise was done to see whether or not they can handle it. Now, if you look at the event 201 as it's described, I think we're still in the middle of the game. That with, the Great Reset. Is there any doubt that some of this stuff is combined or is related? I think not. But you're going to do your research on COVID and make life-altering decisions based on information, then I'm hoping that you're looking at the true studies from legitimate sources and from the universities and studies and doctors and stuff that have people that have put this stuff out, the information for you to see, the ones that are challenging it. I mean, there's a reason why it's being challenged, and these people are being shut down. Look at the stories circulating around. Now, I'm sure if the numbers that they gave are true about the amount of vaccinations in the world, that number may seem small unless it's part of your family or it's all one province or one city, or, you know what I mean? You know where I'm going with that? You know, there was all kinds of information available to us on the vaccines and the variation doses and which ones seem to be causing more symptoms, shall we say. You know, I'll check there. You know, Dr. Vernon Coleman, among others, Dr. Malone, I could go on and on and on. There's a list out there of professionals in their fields that are stating contrary to what the vaccine manufacturers and our health authorities have said, and they've been shut down and diminished. You know, but have you actually read what they said and go back to places like the real articles that came out, the real studies? Remember, they've been, anything that's been around for any length of time, they're claiming, has been used on animals. So there's animal research out there on pretty much every drug you want. And, you know, you start there, if nowhere else, and pick your medicine and look and see, and you're going to get some interesting results from the studies. You know, here's another website looking into various topics in relation to the vaccine and its harms. Yeah. Here's another one. Yeah, this one was set up, if I'm not mistaken, is actually international. It's France, if I'm not mistaken, or somebody in France has set this up. I think this is the one anyway. It's one of them, and it's video testimonies of people that have been negatively affected by the vaccine. So, you know, here's Dr. Mercola, another one, you know, who's always been given a hard time on his for his web presence and his radio presence and stuff like this. But the fact of the matter is, the man does his homework, and if you're not too sure of him, then listen to the stuff he's saying and research the stuff that he's saying, because he's going to point out a whole bunch of things in regards to medicines in particular and causes that conventional medicine or commercial medicine out there won't tell you, whether it be Pfizer's or any of the pharmaceutical companies or drug companies, whatever. You know, they're not going to tell you, so there's more information for you there. What do we got here? Yeah, this is another site where they're just giving you basically information on COVID and all major concerns in and around the world. You know, you're not going to read a lot of this stuff in your Sunday Sun or Daily Sun or local newspaper, and until it's too late or matters no more as to whether or not you're aware of it, you won't hear about it on mainstream media. You know, for Canadian content, there's a lot of really good sites. Now, I haven't touched on live channels or any of the video blogging ones, and there's a lot of those that are really good quality out there that are Canadian specific content, or content that will to some extent interfere with Canadian daily living. So yeah, there's no lack of information out there if you're willing to look for it. This guy's great. You can't watch him on YouTube. He was kicked off of YouTube for controversial statements against COVID and vaccines, and well, let's just say that he calls it the way he sees it. You can find him on Rumble, and he's free to listen to on there. He's also got podcasts on at the iTunes store and on Spotify. They're just recaps of his shows. The things about his YouTube daily shows is he brings up the screenshots, much like I'm doing here, and goes over the news stories one at a time. I like him. Quite listen to him quite frequently. Out of Ontario too. Canadian Report. Here's Canadian Reports. I kind of found I got to do my research definitely with these guys. A lot of the game is just taken out of other magazines and with some of their own stories written in. They're good for information, Canadian information. You got to check these places out. Yeah, Strong and Free Canada. There's definitely something wrong with our Canada, isn't there? Yeah, there's a petition. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. You see, we're still marching for freedoms and stuff, but, this fringe minority that they were talking about turned out to be pretty big, and this is one of our Canadian soldiers, fellow soldiers that have decided to walk from the west coast to Ottawa, and he's in the process of doing that now. I'm not sure when he's planning on getting in there, but it looks like he's down around Manitoba, southern Manitoba, if I'm not mistaken. This is a live, it's a screen grab. It does not reflect the actual route. Okay, I'm not sure where he is. There's a link here that will take you right to where he's at anyway, so you can follow him up every day. Support him as much as you can. He doesn't want cash. You want you to come out and walk with him. Canadian Dimension. I just kind of found this one here lately, so I'm still checking into this one. But again, it's got Canadian stories that are relevant to maybe particular areas, but overall it seems to have a pulse of Canada in there. And of course, what are we looking at for our leaders? You want to find out what's going on, what your party's talking about, and what they're doing, and who's prepared and getting prepared in the back. You got to turn around. You got to go to their websites. You got to talk to these people. You got to listen to them. You got to ask them questions. Liberal Party. Well, we all know what they're all about, don't we? Don't we? Remember, you can send them messages here too. Anything nasty, Trudeau will probably never see. You'll be buffered from that, but or they'll rewrite it. Assuming, make it sound the way they wanted their leader to hear it. Yes, our Canadian Conservative Party. Yeah. But they don't have too much over the NDP. NDP's got nothing, in my opinion. Yeah, thank you for your support. I don't think you'll see. He must be talking to. That must be a message to Trudeau directly. I don't think so. Oh, and a block. Now, the block is a good thing to keep an eye on, because they're not liking what the Liberals are doing any more than anybody else, and they got the feistiness to get up there and fight and not worry about what anybody else is thinking about them. So, yeah. So that's what's going on there. And this was just basically a test, a run test. It also answers a few questions about where do I get my information. And again, to make it very clear, this is just some of the places. There are other places that we haven't. I haven't listed here. I could just as easily. But I've come to my own conclusions in regards to my own health based on the information, and lots of information. lots of misinformation, lots of misdirection, that I made my decisions clearly on the questionable information available from the manufacturers, the push for the vaccination, like I've never seen anything pushed by a government before, and they continue to do it, and it was global. I had my suspicions. I was scared in the beginning. Like everybody else, I was scared. I was concerned. And I still am, to a point, because there's pandemics out there. There's going to be disease, and I'm old. At 64 years old, I got to be careful. I just got my body repaired, 7 operations in 3 years. The last one being as recent as last Tuesday, and it was the last one. And I'm pretty in tune with how I feel physically and mentally. And I know when I'm sore, that I'm not a nice guy. I'm grumpy. I want to be alone. And that's changed in the last couple of operations. It's taken some time, but the thing being is that I recognize a lot of abnormalities within my body that could also be a symptom of adverse reactions or something more severe being in process. And I restrict myself on my medication at all times. I don't take anything other than Aleve or naproxen, which is the same thing. One is prescription and the other one is over the counter. But the same product nonetheless. And I restrict myself to how many of those I take for my discomfort. That being said, I am not anti-vaccine for myself or anybody else. I am just not well informed enough where I feel secure in having made the right decision to be vaccinated. And under the circumstances that we face today, when we made it through the first wave, I made it through the first wave. Had the sniffles a couple of times. Had the flu. I know I did, because my heels were cold, and I know the day it happened, the moment it happened. I respected all the rules, both as a safety for myself, but primarily it was to comfort others, because there is a segment of the society out there that is genuinely fear, without any reservation, that this thing was going to kill him. And that is beyond a physical thing. They have been or become so believing of the extreme lengths that media and government and health authorities went to exasperate the issue. They're not coming back. They were the first ones to rush out and get vaccinated, and they're the first ones to be up on their boosters, and they will continue to do so, and they'll continue to wear masks, because the people who don't, they consider to be idiots. I'm pro-choice. This is Canada. Choose to do what you want to do. Allow me the choices to make. Fortunately, I guess for some in this instance, I'm one of those that is willing to go out of my way to make people feel secure and to feel safe up to the point of having the vaccine mandate, or the vaccine mandated to me. I will not take the vaccine unless it's under my own decision and under my own force. That being said, we survived the first one, and I don't know if we're going to survive the second one. I guess we'll have to see. But that's pretty much all I have to say today. There's not a lot more going on. So I guess we'll just sign off by saying have a great day, and we'll check this all out later. Have a great day. Bye.